the prince of capitalism, Elon Musk, in interviews and podcasts with characters like Joe Rogan, Tucker Carlson, he repeats a strange prophecy. He says that in 15, maybe 20 years, money will be obsolete. It will be useless. When liberal philosophers hear this, they laugh. They say it is a trick. They say Musk is a capitalist trying to hide his greed behind a mask of futurism, as easy as they dismiss Trump as an idiot with no ideology. More on that in a different video. I think they don't get the picture. But not because Musk is telling us the optimistic truth as he's portraying it. He's telling us his truth about the world that he's trying to create, about the world that he sees from his own throne. He's not predicting the end of capitalism as we know it and the rise of democratic proletariat or even the dictatorship of proletariat as we expect him to predict. He's not predicting a futuristic world where money becomes useless because there is so much abundance where currency becomes unrelated. He's predicting a world where feudalism is coming back, but not in the shape of the classical feudalism where the rich man comes with a sword and rapes your daughter. Rather, in a feudalism where you accept the control of the master, understand, and for you to obey him with every sense of the world for comfort and pleasure. This is what Yanis Varoufakis, the old minister of economics in Greece, coined the term techno-feudalism, and we're serving the techno-feudalism with cloud capital. Let's understand what it means. As we talked about in the first video about Brave New World by Aldous Huxley, where a world that is becoming useless of currencies and of work because people are given a pill where they wake up, feel happy, serve their job, whatever it is that they're meant to do, and then go back to sleep. But in a way of AI controlling the resources, and in a way of instead of taking pills, there is a huge AI system that controls us under a very small minority, such as characters as Elon Musk. Jensen Huang, the CEO and owner of Nvidia, one of the techno-feudalists, explains it perfectly. He says in one of his interviews, and he says it many times, human beings are not meant to brush their teeth and drive in traffic. Now, what he means by it is that the simple tasks, the boring simple tasks such as brushing your teeth, driving in your car, buying groceries, picking up the kids from the kindergarten, whatever it is that you're doing, is not what human beings are meant to do. They are meant to do much greater things. They have the capacity and the ability to build societies and to build companies, which is a country like Amazon, like Nvidia, like Facebook, like Tesla, like SpaceX, like whatever it is, right? They're meant to do great stuff. In order for them to make great stuff, they cannot put their time in those small boring things such as driving in traffic or brushing your teeth. The reason that Jensen Huang is saying those things is because he builds the chips that creates what we call today AI. And it explains perfectly the idea behind the concept of creating a world where small simple tasks are important and the tasks of allowing the cloud capital and the AI to keep working are important, exactly as in Brave New World. And the question is, if we don't work for money, and if currency is obsolete, if we don't brush our teeth anymore and drive in traffic, who feeds us? And more importantly, who decides whether we deserve to eat? Let's dive in. Humans, if you believe in Darwin, are basically monkeys. They have two major flaws that cannot be overlooked. Number one, we are cognitively limited. Even the smartest human supergroup cannot process the data of 8 billion people simultaneously. What do I mean by it? An AI computer such as ChatGPT, a much more advanced, not friendly user computer, or even the supercomputer that Microsoft is trying to build, which is said to be holding the power of tens of thousands of computers in one small chip, is able to produce, understand, and calculate the data of 8 billion people in a sense of you give him 100 million or billion tons of meat, he will know how to produce and how to ship and how to give each and every one of the small human beings in the whole system to eat in order to be full, with their calories, with everything. Exactly as we talked in the last episode about pluribus, right? No human being or no strong superhuman being can be able to understand such a system. It must use a computer, a very complex algorithm, or AI, which, as we talked, is not really an algorithm as an automation. Again, watch the first video if some of the things I say are not clear. Number two, and this is very clear to us, I think, especially as you grow older, we are corruptible. We feel greed, tribalism, shame, and spite. We currently produce enough food on this planet to feed 10 billion people. We have the resources. Millions of tons of food a year are being thrown away, yet people don't eat it in Africa, Congo, Philippines, etc. Not because they don't have the capacity or not because we don't have the ability to ship it to them, simply because we are greedy. We want everything fresh and new and glamorous. We don't have the will to distribute them. AI, artificial intelligence, in theory, does not care about your borders. He does not care about our greed. He does not care about the simple abilities that a human being possesses. He does not care about the amount of computation you allow him to produce, as long as his algorithm allows him to produce and to compute such amount of algorithm. We are basically building an entity that will be able to calculate every possible calorie every human being on the planet will need, every drop of water, every watt of electricity. Every small piece of land will be used in order to allow the human being to prosper. With Google data services and Microsoft supercomputer and the abilities of AI that are pushing forward the world right now, the ability of AI to control, compute, and distribute those things will be nothing short of 10 years, 15 years from now. It can understand and compute the human body so perfectly to prevent it from dying for thousands of years. Theoretically, of course. It will be able to do things that a human being, exactly as we've seen in 2016 with AlphaGo, just with a much bigger scale, never even thought about that is possible. It could fulfill the dream of every socialist and every communist and every capitalist ever dreamt about with a snap of a finger, or more accurately, with a press of a button. But, and here is the big part that Elon Musk, Jen Hewen, all of those capitalist prophets don't mention. Who owns the AI? Who owns this machine? Who determines who deserves X and who deserves Y? When you are a child, when you are 6 years old, and you want to eat, you go to your mother. You say, "Mother, I wish to eat, I'm hungry." Then she gives you food, you sit on the table and you eat. The food comes from your mother, the money that was paid for the food came from your mother, the plate that you sit on, the house that you sit on, everything that is occurring around you was produced by your parents. If your parents decide to take away the privilege from you of eating, eating ceases to exist and you will die. As simple as that will be the world of AI. If the only thing that decides if you eat or not will be a machine will be the only determination of whether you eat or not. And if the person owns this machine, who understands this machine, who can produce commands into the machine, decides for any reason whatsoever that you will not eat today, you will not eat. And this what brings us to the structure of our new world. This is what I call in the beginning of the video by Yanis Varoufakis, techno-feudalism. Now, if you don't know what feudalism is, in the medieval era, a feudal lord was a lord because he was a myth. He had royal blood, divine right. He was often an idiot, illiterate, inbred, weaker, and stupider than the peasant working his fields. But the peasant believed the myth, and so does all the others. The system was held because of ideology and understanding, not competence. Today, we have new gods. We have Elon Musk, we have Jeff Bezos, we have Mark Zuckerberg. They are different and more dangerous. They did not inherit a bloodline. They didn't conquer land with swords and guns. They became lords because they gave us exactly what we wanted, and they understood how to do it so perfectly that we allowed it every second of the day, even though we saw their growing power. They built the infrastructure of convenience, and we plugged ourselves in voluntarily. As we talked about in the first video, The old kings were ruling by the power of the boot, like 1984's of George Orwell. In the New World, as was talking about Aldous Huxley in Brave New World, the new kings rule by the promise of comfort, by the nice, gentle touch of comfortability as they suck your soul and energy away. Those techno-feudalists realized that if you give a human being infinite convenience, one-click shopping, infinite scrolling, same-day delivery, he will happily surrender his autonomy. We are building our own cages, one app at a time. We are allowing this to happen. By every second that we enter Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, simply by you watching right now this video with me, is allowing them to keep their power up and keep the feudalism to grow even bigger. And of course, me by filming it and uploading it. In a feudal world, when you go to the kingdom of, let's say I give a random name, John III, you are set and bound by the rules of John III. You want to eat, you want to sleep, you want to have sex, you want to buy groceries, you want to work, whatever it is, you are bound only by the rules of John III. Everything in the land that John III owns, this is what you are capable of doing. In the next land of John II, whatever it is that you want to do is bound only by the rules of John II. And the rules can be absolutely different than the rules of John III. It is exactly the same with the platform that you are using. When you are going to Amazon, of course you are bound by the rules of the country that you live in, etc., etc. But when you are purchasing in Amazon, you are purchasing in Amazon according to the rules of Amazon, according to the rules of Jeff Bezos. This is his territory. Exactly the same for the sellers. Sellers that want to sell in Amazon have to bound to the 30% commission of Jeff Bezos. They cannot do anything about it. You want to use my land, my resources, my cloud, my ability to achieve and to allow so many consumers to come into my Amazon store, you have to use my rules. You have to obey my conditions. Exactly as a peasant in the feudal era grow and harvested his potatoes, gave a percentage of it to the lord or to the feudal in order to live in his own land. The same thing we are doing with Amazon, Facebook, TikTok, etc. as consumers and the sellers itself that are selling on those platforms. When you are going in right now into Amazon and you're buying a product, you are feeding data about your peripherabilities as a human being, as an independent person, to the cloud capital of Amazon. Did you ever stop and think, how is it that when I enter Instagram, I cannot stop being there for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours without even noticing the time? It is not because Instagram is so fascinating or because the content creators are so smart. It is because Instagram feeds, and the knowledge that you feed it, and the of the small milliseconds of you watching a video a bit more than the other video, and feeds you those videos inside. Basically, we are teaching a machine how to make us more addictive. So we are teaching the machine how to teach us, how to teach it, how to teach us to being fed and to feed into the cloud capital as consumers and as sellers. But those points are quite clear when you open your eyes and you look into the realm that we are living in. This is nothing new in a sense of not understanding. I don't think anyone watching this video don't understand the rules of capitalism and the change that is being occurred from capitalism to techno-feudalism. Of course, cloud capital and techno-feudalism are new terms, but this is nothing too fascinating. The part that they will not show you in the idea of AI that they will not show you in TED Talks is a great young guy, a new feudalist called Alexander Wang. He became the world's youngest self-made billionaire at the age of 25 with his company Scale AI. Now, if you're not tech savvy, or you're not a guy that understands or interested even in economics or a woman, you probably don't even recognize Scale AI or Alexander Wang. Let me explain to you who he was. Alexander Wang built I would say not the first, but the biggest cloud capital ever existed about how artificial intelligence works. As we talked about in the first video, artificial intelligence works on probability. When you go into an orange field, you expect to see oranges on the trees instead of Ferraris. That's what AI understands as well, and therefore it calculates the right answer for you on the simplest terms possible. Alexander Wang built the first cloud capital, basically the first database, the first knowledge base of how an AI should answer stuff and how the probability of AI should be compared to the probability of a human being with scale AI. And he did it obviously by using human beings. So what exactly did he do? In the Philippines, I live in the Philippines, the minimum wage is $200, which is approximately 12,000 PHP, 12,000 pesos. The average Filipino works 10 to 12 hours a day in order to keep his house alive 6 days a week, with an average house making in a family of 25,000-30,000 pesos, which let me tell you is not enough for anything. You're always stuck with loans, you always have to get a side income, you always have to get more ways of making money. Alexander Wang understood that, and he did exactly that. He allowed Filipinos to sit on their computer day by day, pressing buttons at scale AI and making good money, making 15,000 pesos a month with a few hours of work a day, 2-3 hours a day. What exactly do they do? Alexander will show them a picture of 10 cars. One of them is red and all the others are yellow, for instance. And then it will tell the Filipino or the person working on it, press the red card. We'll press the red card and say next. Like that, quizzes against quizzes against quizzes, very, very simple tasks that even a child can do. Easily the Filipino knows that by understanding and by feeding the cloud capital of Alexander Wang, they were basically signing their own dismiss letter. They were firing themselves because as they kept educating the AI, their use as human beings became useless. Their understanding of how the world works became useless. The AI, as they kept feeding it, became smarter and therefore switching them. And to understand how AI destroys economies and how AI can make humans useless, especially in third world countries, we need to talk about BPOs. BPO is a call center, customer service usually, occupied by big companies, American Airlines, SIM card companies, electrical companies, network companies, etc., usually in the US, Australia, Canada, and Britain. In the Philippines, the GDP, which is the money that goes into the gross domestic product of the Philippines, the BPO holds 9% of it. Big chunk of money through the Philippines go through BPO. An industry is making tens of billions of dollars yearly. Today, because of AI, and because scale AI, and because the help of Filipinos teaching the cloud capital of scale AI, the predictions are that in 5 years from now, AI will replace the whole industry of BPO workers and it will become absolutely useless. And all of those people that relied on the income that came from the BPO will become obsolete. They will have no job and they will become useless. Now, scale AI is just a brutal, simply example of how this farming is working, but exactly the same as we are feeding Instagram, ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, Facebook, Perplexity, all of the tools that you're using, whether they are large language models as ChatGPT or simply social networks as X and Instagram. We are feeding the AI day by day to replace us and make us useless. And what do we get in return? You get to stay on the land. You get to watch the show. You get the illusion of participation in the games of the techno-feudalist. And if you think this is just happening in the global south, that every time that you solve a CAPTCHA, every time that you tell ChatGPT that answer was wrong, it is important to give a variant look on the techno-feudalism. You might come and say, but wait, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm no serf. Sure, I go on Instagram and I give them the knowledge that it allows them to make me replaceable by making people more addictive and by educating the AI. But I make income from AI. I make income from ChatGPT. I make income from Instagram. I make income from Uber. I make income from those clouds that you call cloud capital. This is my living. Exactly as the Filipino doing in scale AI, I do it for a bigger company in order to produce my living. And you are right, you are making your money. And here, I want to talk about a great point that the Slovenian philosopher Slavoj Žižek points out brilliantly. In the regular capitalism, when we're talking about even the 1990s, 1980s, 1970s, a regular taxi driver will have a very simple and clear enemy. His enemy would be either another freelancer taxi driver who owns his own car and pays his own petrol, or it will be his boss, the agency underneath he's working as a taxi driver. He does not compete with regular, simple other taxi drivers. He competes with his boss to give him a bigger salary, or if he's an independent, he's competing with competition of those big companies. With Uber, a company that is worth today $130 billion, they hold no cars, no drivers, no infrastructure, no nothing. What do they hold? They hold the cloud. And we feed this cloud day by taking Uber drivers. Uber created a system in which the driver logs in his entity as a small capitalist, and instead of fighting the Uber itself, fighting the company to pay him more money, he's fighting the other small capitalists in his turn into a downstream of low income in order to make the feudal happier and to make the people want to choose him, and plastic and happiness to get better rating in the platform. As long as you get a higher rating, the more the chances the cloud will feed you customers, right? Therefore, the feudal is Uber, because the competition is not against them anymore. They have no competition. The competition is between the small capitalists, which is nothing but the workers of the company. The fact that they choose their own hours of work and they print out a receipt as an own independent business does not mean in any way or sort that they have a business. Their competition is not the other drivers. It's understanding the situation that is Uber. And the same exact thing for Instagram, for Facebook, for OnlyFans, for all of those platforms where people gather around and make money out of. Your competition is not another influencer. Your competition is not another OnlyFans model. We talked about it in the first video, by the way, of this channel, where I explained how Marx predicted OnlyFans. Go watch it. I'll leave a video here in the description as well. But the competition is not with the other OF model. The competition is with OnlyFans. The competition is with Instagram. The competition is with Uber, with Facebook, with X. And this is the perfect explanation on the true power of capitalism, or as we push towards the techno-feudalism. We have became our own overseers. We have became our own enslavers. We have became a competition. Instead of the prisoner fighting the guard, the competition became a prisoner fighting another prisoner, and who will make the guard like him more. And this is what Michel Foucault, the French sociologist in the 1970s, called the panopticon, from his book Discipline and Punish. And that we will talk in a different episode, so stay tuned. So what did we do? We downloaded the app, we taught the algorithm exactly what we wanted him to do, and now it sells our own desires back to us at a markup while we cannibalize each other for scraps. It is not a simple feedback loop, it's a self-tightening noose that keeps us engraved, possessed by the feudal. Jumping brutally from economics to spirituality, here is the final and darkest point. This is not about just economics. This is not just about being useless financially. This is not just about being enslaved in the material realm, of being controlled by another entity. This is not about theology only as well. This is also about the soul, the spirit, if you like. And this is about the colonization of the meaning of being human itself. Carl Jung, a Swiss brilliant psychologist, warned us. He said that human beings do not live on bread alone. We need symbols, we need archetypes, we need rituals, mythos, and mystery. We need the magic, not the literal kind of card tricks, but the psychological kind. The sense that life contains something beyond optimization. In the West, we killed this magic with industrialization. We replaced God with the market, and its prayers became money. We replaced meaning with efficiency and work. We replaced the soul with the paycheck and the newest iPhone. I have lived in the Philippines for the last 2 years. In Asia, the reality is a bit different. There is at least a small sense of spirituality. There is still a small sense of spiritual wisdom. I claim that the love, besides the money hacking and the cheap currencies, that the westernized people have towards Asian countries is exactly this. The feeling that they have kept a little bit more of that magic we call being a human being. By believing in those monsters, that in the West we dismiss them as paganistic or doesn't exist, such as those monsters with children or with pregnant lady or the ghosts or the idea of an external living after your death besides being a biological being, is exactly what I'm talking about by being the magic that a human being needs to possess. And this is exactly what I talked about in the last episode. The conclusion, or the solution for this issue of capitalism or techno-feudalism digitalizing our souls and occupying us from becoming human beings and making us the servants of the cloud capital is not merely escaping the cloud capital in the sense of deleting your computer and deleting your Instagram and throwing your phone to the sea. The idea is to keep your small sense of entity, your small sense of being a human being, by allowing this irrationality to occur, by allowing yourself to still believe in those monsters, by allowing yourself to still be happy simply because you woke up in the morning, to allow yourself to stop and wonder about the beauty of existence. This is the only way that we still have to fight against what we call the capitalization of the soul and the future of techno-feudalism. In the last and final episode, we will talk about the prince of capitalism, the ultimate techno-feudalist. The guy seems to be a new god walking on earth. In the beginning of this episode, in the first episode, we talked about ethos. We talked about AI becoming our god, replacing us from human beings to being pets. In the second episode, we talked about economics and the stance of being useless by educating the AI to replace us, and about the future, the brave new world that we're coming into, of making us pets of the AI and distributing our own goods in a sense of AI doing it. In the third and final episode, we will talk about the guy who pushes those two narratives so violently and so successfully, the one and only Elon Musk.